Today's video, we're going to go over the pros and cons of living in Northern Virginia. Make sure you stay tuned for all the pros if you don't like sitting in traffic or driving to the city. My name is Sang. I am a local real estate agent here in Northern Virginia. I've been here for almost 40 years. I grew up in Arlington and Herndon, and now I live in Centerville. If you have any questions, please call me, text me. My phone is always on. I'm always available. Fast reply. Con number one. Don't expect to find any beaches in Northern Virginia that's really close to you.
If you're from Southern California, Florida, every good beach is 3 hours away. You got Virginia Beach, which is about 2 hours and 45 minutes. And so you got some great beaches in Maryland also, and then that's about 2.5 hours away. So you have to make it like a weekend trip. You can make it a day trip, but that means you have to drive there in the morning, then you have to come back in the evening. So I don't know if that's something you like to do, but definitely a weekend trip, but there's no beaches. We do have Potomac River and the Chesapeake Bay, which is not really a beach. It's water, but you can't really put your feet in the sand. So don't expect that here. You can go skiing. How about that? The toll roads and parking. So if you live in the suburban area, there's so many toll roads just to come into DC, but you can avoid them by not going around, but it's going to take you longer. But if you decide to use a toll road, sometimes it can take you up to 30 to 40 bucks. But to avoid them, you can take a different route, or you can carpool. You can find a friend or two, and then you can just take the toll road straight in, which is really fast and convenient. But also, they are just building a lot of toll roads in Northern Virginia, and it does help out the state. Just a lot of toll. And then parking, if you go in the city, forget it. Finding parking is a nightmare. Just give yourself another 15 to 20 minutes to find parking, unless you want to go in a garage structure, which I think they charge you 20 bucks for all day, and then maybe $7 an hour just to park. But if you're going in there for work, yes. And then of course they have street parking. It's a nightmare. You can't park in a residential area. The chance of getting towed is good. And then if you decide to park on the street, it's about $2 for every hour. Finding a parking spot is awful in Arlington or Alexandria. Just anytime when you go close to DC, it's a nightmare. I don't like going into the city at all just because of parking and driving. So I'd rather stay in the rural area or the suburb area, just hang out here. There's a lot to do. Con, living in Northern Virginia is the weather. The weather, it can be brutal here. But let's start with the good one. The fall is the perfect weather. You got the leaves changing color, beautiful sight. And then you got these cool breeze, and then you got these romantic evenings. People are out strolling, holding hands, spending time with family. But during the spring, that's okay. That's when the flowers starting to blossom and having pretty colors come back on the trees. But it does rain a lot. Sometimes, I remember one time in May, it rained 28 days out of 31 days. I don't like that because I'm such an outdoorsy guy, so you have to find something indoor to do. And then you got summer. Okay, summer is just humid. If you take a shower, you walk right back outside, you feel gross already, starting to sweat again. And then, of course, you got mosquitoes during the summer. If you live in Arlington or DC, just get ready to be bitten. Bug sprays don't even work here. And there's a lot of gnats, especially on the golf course. And I play some golf. We eat gnats. They just fly right in your mouth and your ear. You just have to live with them. And then, of course, you got winter. Winter is not my favorite. I like to do outdoors things. Winter is cold. You just have to cover your face. You have to wear a lot of clothing. Winter is just awful for me. I'm just an outdoorsy guy. I like to do things. I don't want to be inside. And seasonal depression is real here in Northern Virginia, just because when you're cold, you don't want to do anything outside and you're just hanging indoors, and it gets dark at 5:45 in the wintertime here. So there's not a lot to do. And then when you go outside, eventually maybe your face can freeze, or a windshield might be like -10. It's just not fun. Just awful, Northern Virginia during the wintertime. Con in living in Northern Virginia is the traffic. Traffic is really bad here just because there's so many people. The city is just so dense. One of them is causing traffic is construction. So Northern Virginia is just building bigger lanes, bigger roads, and putting more toll roads. And just because some nights they'll shut it down to one lane, and at night you'd be just trickling at 10, 15 miles per hour at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And construction would do that to Northern Virginia. And also another reason is just bad weather. When the road gets icy, snow, heavy rain, and people just don't drive well in it, and they get a little nervous, and there's nothing you can do about that, and just try to avoid the accidents. And then another reason for traffic is just because of bottlenecking. We are expanding 4 lanes from the rural area into the city, which we're going from 4 to 2. Just alleviates a lot of traffic. And then also the other one is a lot of people working in DC. So, DC is just a small little city. It's only 5 miles by 5 miles, about 600 people that are residents there. And you have 1.5 million people that drive into the city during rush hour. It's really bad. And then of course you're coming back out. That's why some people just prefer to take the metro, and some people do pay the toll roads, which can be pricey. Another con is the cost of living. Of course, Northern Virginia is very expensive. Everything here is expensive. Just look at the housing market. Our average home in Northern Virginia is about $600,000 to purchase. And according to the nation, is only $400,000. We are heavily taxed over here. We pay for property tax, we pay for personal tax, we pay for sales tax, and then of course if you decide to buy a house, you got to pay transfer tax, and then when you sell the house, you have to pay 4 different taxes. We could do another subject on that, but it's just heavily taxed. But we do with our tax money, we create new roads for a good school system, just keeping the state really nice, so it helps. So just expect to pay a lot when you're here. Food, everything, furniture, television, nannies, just a whole bunch of stuff. Another pro for living in Northern Virginia is we have a lot of alternative transportation. It is a very dense city. There's a lot of traffic happening, but also Virginia is very good at doing public transportation. You got to the metro, which is really great. It goes all the way past Dulles into Ashburn area, which is Loudoun County. You can spend like $5 to $10 and go in the city, and then a lot of people just sit there and they do their work, or they can meditate, or just relax and let somebody else do the driving. And then also there's a lot of buses. You can take buses anywhere. There's like a park and ride, so you can just park your car and take the bus and go anywhere you want to go, and then you just have to plan the route yourself. And then in Virginia, we do have this thing called slugging. Slugging is when it's a carpool, but they have little areas you can park and meet up with some friends or some strangers, and then just drive into the city. And then once you carpool, you can actually go on the toll road and not pay any tolls at all. I told you, Virginia is heavily tolled, so sometimes you can spend $30 to $40 just going to the city by yourself. But if you carpool, you're going to save all that money and all that time, so it alleviates some traffic. There's a lot of alternative transportation. Also, if like the city, you live in Arlington or you live in DC, you can take a scooter. And I love doing that. I just take the scooter and tour around DC and Arlington. And that way, if you want to go a few blocks or even a couple miles and you don't want to just walk it, scooter, wonderful. Another pro in Virginia is the school district. A lot of people move here just to have their kids in a great school district. If you ever want to search any school you want to see what the ratings are, you can always go to niche. If you look at Falls Church City, it's an A+. If you look at Arlington, it's an A+. If you look at Fairfax, it's an A. You look at Loudoun County, it's also an A. And then you got Prince William, which is an A-. You got Virginia Tech, James Madison, UVA. And then you got Richmond. Also, if you just go across the river, you got Georgetown, George Washington, and then you got American University. So definitely we pay a lot of taxes in a lot of Virginia, but also the taxes making our school better. It does make a lot of the roads better. But a lot of people do move here just because of school. It's also very friendly. It's a great environment to raise a family. It's just a beautiful state altogether. Another pro here living in North Virginia is that we are very rich in history. We got so many museums here. You can't do it in with one day. You go to Arlington Cemetery, you go to a lot of museums. After museums, you go museum hopping. One of the things I like to do is take a scooter around, taking to go see the Washington Monument, the museum. It's just a great day. It's just a fun activity that you can do with your kids. Then, of course, you got George Washington's homes here, right here in Mount Vernon, which is about only 30 minutes out of D.C. You can take the George Mason Parkway, which is a beautiful street that you drive along the Potomac River. And then if you want to go a bit further, you can go to Charlottesville, which is where Thomas Jefferson's home is, Monticello. So that's about an hour and a half out. And then if you want to go see some reenactment of the Civil War, you can go to Williamsburg. So they have a whole bunch of stuff out there you can do. It's just colonial back in the day. There's just a lot of museums. There's plenty. So just enjoy it and have a great time. Another pro is that we have high-paying jobs and job security. In real estate, we have our own bubbles because of DMV, where we don't run with what the nation's average is. Our cost of living is much higher. There's a lot of high-paying jobs, which is you got your government job, you got contracting government jobs here, you got Amazon, you got Google, you got IT, you got startup companies. And then Amazon is creating a little city within a city. Boeing is planning on moving their headquarters down here too from Chicago. Out of the top 10 richest county, 4 of them is here in Northern Virginia. You got Loudoun County, which is number 1, averaging about $147,000 per household. And then you got Falls Church City in Fairfax County, and then number 7 is Arlington County. Everything is coming this way. We just have a lot of high-paying jobs and very job security, and that's why people like to move to Northern Virginia.
I'd like to thank you for watching my video. Like I said, if you have any questions and any comments, please write them down. Let me know what kind of videos you like to watch, and I can record them for you. My name is Sang. I am a real estate agent here. If you'd like to subscribe and comment, please do so. And I thank you again for watching.